Testing. There we go. That should do it. We can mute that. Okay. We don't need the echo. All right. All right. We're back and trying again. Let's see if we can make it work this time. Yeah, so literally 2 minutes into the stream, OBS crashed. I don't know why. I don't know why it did that. Makes no sense. Makes no sense why it did. And then after it crashed, I tried restarting it, but my camera would not connect to the computer no matter what I did. So the camera's trash. I literally just bought it. I've barely used it, but it will not work. I don't know if it's a PC problem or if it's a camera problem. I don't know what it is. So I don't know. I'm just having a lot of technical issues here. Feels like even my feels like even the stars that be don't want me to stream For Honor anymore. All right, two Jurin, a Zhan Hu, and a Nietzsche. All right. The ones who made Arkham games are working on a Batman Beyond game. Okay. All right, here we go. All right. So we are getting close to the end of Year 10 Season 1. Excited for Season 2. We're ready to see what that has to bring. Got him. Good kill. I'm going to see. Got it. Heal up, heal up. Alright, got my first feat. Sweet. Yeah, excited for what Season 2 does. As for how Season 1's gone, it's been hit and miss for me. I really liked the first half of Season 1. I thought that it was really good. But then the second half of the Assassin's Creed stuff wasn't really my thing. If you enjoyed it, that's great. It's just never been my thing. Good light parry. All right. Got him. Never get cocky around Varangian. It does not end well. You're already up against one of the safest characters in the game. Just don't get cocky. All right, we're going again. Good move. Here comes a bash. No, it was attack. Okay. Good light parry. Again with the light parries. Well, I guess no more lights against this guy. He seems to always know when a light's coming. You sound upset. I already explained. I had the stream started off bad because it just crashed. And so I'm frustrated that my camera isn't working. The stream crashed, and that's just an awful way to start. How do I feel about the Dark Angel successors, the Bringers of Judgment? I don't know the first thing about them. All right. All right. We took that back. I'm going to B. All right. We're slowly coming back. Yeah, he always knows the lights. That Jurin just always knows when the lights are coming. Key with him is just throw raw heavies, I guess. All right. Yeah, all three of my teammates are dead. Definitely not good. I'll just have to hold A as long as I can until my team shows up. They're coming. Why can't I see anything? Dang it. Tried to parry, couldn't do it. Come on, guys. We can pull this back. We can totally pull this back. Get to A. Get to A. Pirate, get to A. Good job. Good job. I'm going to B. That's got to suck. Threw 2 of your feats to get the edge, and I still whooped you. I'm going to A. Not because I need to boost it, but because I need the health. It would be really pointless for me to go in there and help them when my health isn't up to snuff. All right. That's enough. I'm going back to B. Wait, no, they've got someone in B now. I need to go to A. All right, we got it. We got this. We got this. We got this. We've won. We've won. There we go. Good fight. What a turnaround. What a turnaround. We took a very difficult situation and fixed it. That's what's up. That's what's up. That was annoying. We were up against 2 Jurin who are very difficult to go against, but we got them. We got them. That's how you play. But yeah, as I was saying before, I got kind of locked in. I kind of had to lock in there. I've been very pleased with the season 1. The Assassin's Creed didn't do anything for me. I just didn't care. It's never been my favorite event, and I didn't care for the skins that much, largely because I didn't care for the game they came from. Assassin's Creed Shadows didn't do it for me. I wasn't a fan of it. If you liked it, if you liked the game and you liked the skins, then I'm glad you got it. They definitely look okay. I'm not going to say they don't. They look fine, all things considered. I just didn't care for them. It wasn't something that I was particularly interested in. And that's just me. That's just my position on it. If you like it, you like it. But the event was okay for a little while, but then I got kind of bored of it. And that's all there is to say about that. But as for the Griffin skin, I thought it was fire. I think that the lore direction is interesting. I'm curious to see where they'll go next season. I don't know. We'll just have to see. You know what I'm saying? Which hero would you say is the most people play to be toxic? Usually Shaman is the one they want to play to be toxic. But I've also seen toxic Virtuoses, Pirates, and Gladiators. Those are the ones I typically see go toxic. All right, I got to play 2 more matches as a Viking. Let's go Yorm. Raven, hear me out, but I think the new skin is going to be Sohei. Why do you think that? I mean, I know it's a samurai. We know that much. We know it's going to be a samurai skin because they said it in the roadmap. But why do you think Sohei? Am I the only person who wants to hear Raven read the tale of how a nun tamed a terrorist and turned it to Christianity? That'd be interesting. Raven, do you think Warden should have a cape? Nah, it's fine the way it is. Honestly, Warden needs more moves in his kit than he does a cape. Warden 100% needs a cape. They're high-ranking knights of an ancient order, yet don't have one. You realize most knights didn't wear capes, right? The Templar Knights, which I think the Wardens are primarily based on, wore habits, which are not capes. They're basically robes. Hey, Dev. Is there a Bible study tomorrow? Yes, there will be a Bible study tomorrow. All right, I'm going to C. Oh. I can already tell where this is going. Buddy, be a bro. There we go. That's better. Up. Where are you going? Oh, he didn't want to be ganged up on. Okay. That is fair. I can understand that sentiment. I'm going to B. And he's running again. Saga of a Cowardly Zerk right here. You kind of gave that one to me, Afir, I'm not going to lie. Afira suffers 1 L and pulls out. No! Afira, no! Oh, that's terrible. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. That's terrible. But at least you got a replacement. You got a replacement. Oh. Not historically accurate, but For Honor isn't exactly on the mark with a lot of that. No, I agree with you. It's not historically accurate all the time. But you said they're part of a knightly order and don't have capes. I'm pointing out knightly orders didn't necessarily have capes. See, you were using a historical reference to prove your point. I'm saying that historical reference doesn't add up. That's all. Please help. Thank you. Always good to have a team that comes to help you. There you go. Y'all got him. Y'all got him. I'll just pick myself up because he's probably going to pop revenge, and then they're going to have their work to cut out for them. I'm going to run to A because our shaman is there all by their lonesome, and I don't want the shaman to lose. Although shaman might be doing okay on her own. I don't know. Never mind. Glad I'm here. Hey. Hey, isn't this the part you're supposed to run away? They're ready to parry. I need some help. Where's my team? My team was just nowhere. All right, all right. I had that Zerk, and then Warden came to back him up. All right, that's how it is. That's how it is. Warden's going to be playing backup for these guys. That's how they want to do it. That's how we're going to do it. I'll slip back over to A, get some points back. Or Zerk, you can fight me. That's fine. Not going to run away, right? Not going to run away, are you? I already see the telltale signs. What's wrong, Zerk? Man, you really should have run away, Zerk. You were much better at that. You were way better at running than you were fighting, I'll be real. You would have done a lot better to run and go find that warden. Okay. Next. I'm just going to sit on this zone and boost it. We're close to breaking them. Wait, he's a Rep 90 Zerk? And he played like that? Ooh! That's unfortunate. All right. I don't have to worry about anything from that Zhang Jun. He won't attack me. He doesn't want to risk filling revenge. Or now he will. Now he will. Oh no, another one quit. Picking me up, let's go. Pick me up, pick me up, pick me up. Yes. And we win. That worked out. Anyway, why no shield for this character? It just didn't come with a shield. Hey, I got an idea for a For Honor collab. A collab with One Piece. No. Nah, it's delving a little too much into the fantasy, I think. Did she just tap out of the match? Yeah, she just quit. Honestly, I would give Warden a Goblin Slayer skin. Yeah, I could see Ward with a Goblin Slayer skin, but I don't think I would go Goblin Slayer, you know. Goblin Slayer, again, is a bit more fantasy than I would want. All right. Got to play one more match as a Viking. Let's see what we can do. The robes the historical Templars wore, were they inspired for the robes and the Black Templars and Dark Angels were? Yeah, the robes you see worn by some Space Marines, like Dark Angels and Black Templars, yeah, they're basically habits. They're basically robes and hoods that are worn by monks. Because the idea was the historical Templar Order and the Hospitaller Order, both of them, were monastic groups. They were not necessarily raised knights. They were monks. They took vows of poverty, piety, and selflessness. Basically, they were monks, warrior monks who took up arms against the Muslim threat to Christians in the Holy Land. Over time, and that was how they initially started. What really happened is it started with 9 men. It started with 9 men who just decided that they were going to protect the pilgrims in the holy places from the attack of raiders and Turks and all these other groups in the Middle Eastern lands. That was the goal. That was the point that they were trying to do. They were trying to protect them. They didn't ask for money. They didn't ask for handouts. They just wanted to help people. That was all they did. But as time went on and they became more popular and became more well-known, more men wanted to join, and they had to become very strict about how you joined. You could not be some old retired goat who just wanted a few more minutes of fame. You couldn't be some young little kid who had no training. You couldn't be some rich pompous jerk who just wanted a few minutes of fame. No, you had to be a trained soldier in your 20s or 30s, so that meant your prime. You had to have had some time wielding a sword. You had to be a soldier. You had to be a veteran, and you had to abstain from all desires of the flesh, of money, and of status. You had to basically give all that up because you were becoming a knight for God. It's hard for us to rationalize in our modern day, but religion at that time, faith at that time, was intrinsic to daily life. Like it was genuinely the faith of the men at that point in time was an intrinsic and important aspect of their daily life. As far as they were concerned, their very swords were consecrated by God because they were fighting in the name of God to protect God's children. That was the point. So the Templars were basically Christian monks who, rather than just praying in a temple all the time, although they did that, prayer and meditation was important, they took up arms and fought the Saracens and the Muslims and the Turks. That was their purpose, to protect the pilgrims. And they were well regarded for it. Now, that's what the Templars did. The Hospitallers were a little different. The Hospitallers took up oaths of protecting the sick and the injured and the dying. They were basically medics. They were trying to build hospitals and places where the sick and the injured could go to get treatment. But these places were often attacked by Muslims and Turks, so they had to take up arms and protect them. So it's fascinating when you understand what the monastic orders were created to do. Have I ever played Dante's Inferno? No, I've never played Dante's Inferno. Who do I think is the greatest Disney villain? Depends on what standard we're looking at, because there's a lot of ways I could talk about a Disney villain and what I think is important. Oh, hello. No, Warmonger, no. All right. My team did not take any zones. That is bad. I'm going to go to C, try to put some pressure on it. Crap. Wow, that zone nailed me. Never mind. Anyway, but yeah, Frodo's probably a good choice. I think he's probably one of the most sinister. I liked the coachman in Pinocchio. He was definitely a good one. Man, my team is just sucking wind. I might not win this one, and I don't think it's on me. I think my team is just not playing well. Rep against a Rep 100. Wait, that's a Rep 100 Warmonger? Okay. All right, I'm about to get ganked here. There it is. And this is why I detest Kyoshin. This is why I detest that little weeb. I detest him. Kyoshin is a character that I think is more annoying than most. They will sit in their little stance and hide behind it, knowing that they get buffs if I even slightly graze it, and then they can apply passive pressure with it without flinching. And you might think, oh, well, other All Guard characters have that too. Not to the same extent. Not to the point that they gain buffs from an external hit on it. And Kyoshin's just, it's so cringe. It's so cringe going up against a Kyoshin who two-man teams. Here he goes. He's going to do a kick. Now go into that stance. Oh, no stance? Okay. Okay. Then again, he didn't need to. He had the pressure. £9.99 from Salty Yorm. Good evening, Mr. Raven of the Night. Hope the streams have been well. The stream did not start out well, that's for sure. The stream did not start out well. The stream crashed altogether. But we've won the first 2 matches, so in terms of gameplay, we've been doing okay. Have I heard Hellfire in Latin? It's glorious. Yeah, I like it in Latin. Sounds really good. At least all of the enemy team have died at least once, but notice the Kyoshin has gotten the most kills and only died once. That doesn't surprise me in the slightest, because all Kyoshin has to do is sit in his stance and reap profit. Nothing I could do against the 3 of you. Nothing I could do against the 3 of you. I'm against 4-stack Aphira. 4-stack in general is just annoying. Which of the Crusades do you find the most and least interesting to study? They're all interesting to some way or another. I think the first is the most interesting because it gets overlooked a lot, but it was probably the most important. The least interesting is probably the 7th because not a lot happened. Good light parry. Wow, thanks for pushing me away from it. Yeah, you're just going to keep doing that, huh? All right. Well, this was a crap match, but I didn't have a great team, so whatever. We rallied? Oh, okay. Kyoshin's Kyoshin is a pain to fight against. Virtuoso's annoying too, but I think Kyoshin annoys me even more than Virtuoso sometimes. Thank you. Here's that Kyoshin. All my homies hate Kyoshin. All my homies hate Kyoshin. I think it's kind of weird that people would overlook the first one. People don't like the first one because it's the most problematic in their eyes. And when you understand the history, it's really not. Yes, Kyoshin, act smug. That's right. You do that, bro. Act smug. Play a cringe character in a cringe way. You should act smug. How would I fix Kyoshin's kit? Take away the buffs to his All Guard, for one thing. He does not need to get bleed damage and healing on his lights after a simple response, after a simple external hit. Second, I would make it drain more stamina than it does to go into it and hold it. I would make it drain way more stamina than to go into it and hold it. All right, well, we're done playing Vikings. I'm not playing with that Kyoshin again. Getting out of that one. Moving on. Took a bit of a break from For Honor a bit, but looking forward to see what's next after this season. Yeah, I am too. I'm very excited. All right, let's see. Who do I want to go? Who do I want to go? I don't need to play any faction specifically. I think I'll go Warden. I will go Warden. I want to use the new execution if I can. Have you ever heard a song called Superhero from Simon Curtis? It's a really awesome song. No, I don't think I have. Oh, by the way, Raven, I still have been trying to get into Order of the Raven on Discord, but I still think there's some type of glitch. Try again tomorrow. If it doesn't work, don't worry too much about it, because if I'm being 100%, I don't think my Discord will be around much longer. I don't think I'm going to keep my Discord active much longer. All right, let's go. I don't know what you were trying to do there, Conk, but okay. All of us here are just feeding his revenge. I'm out of that one. Good fight. I'll head back to A. That's a good execution and a good effect for it. I like that. All right. Let's keep moving. Okay. 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 Have any historical Templars broken their oaths? Yeah, I mean, you have historical Templars who break their oaths, for sure. But it's the general rule that's the point. The whole point of the Templar Order was that many of them did what they were meant to do. And the historical record shows that for a long time, especially during the first, second, third, and even into the Fifth Crusade, they did that. Okay. And one of my own just quit. Nice. That's always the best when they just pull out. Yep. I love it. Kyojin isn't that hard to fight. Everyone just has that one here that they struggle with. I struggle with all of them. I suck at the game. So that's just how it goes for me. I suck at the game, so I struggle with all the heroes. But I think a lot of people agree that Kyojin's annoying. Thank you. All right. Back up. If I had to guess, I don't think we're going to win this one. I don't think my team is coordinated enough, and we just had our Berserker quit. So it's not looking good. I mean, I can hope, but I don't have high hopes. Konk's coming back. I need to watch him. He's just throwing a lot of lights. He's not playing like the idiot he was earlier. He's just throwing lights at this point. A Rep 100 Konk just whiffing lights. Okay. Are you aware of what today marks? D-Day? Okay, the 4th feat. Really? Really? Throw your feats, bro. You're playing Jurin and you're winning through feats. Okay. Jurin is that enemy. Jurin is so bad at playing the best hero in the game right now. He needs feats. Okay. Anyway, Kyojin is dumb and frustrating a-hole samurai hero, and he's stupid. I just don't like Kyojin. You know, there it is. I wanted to ask, did any relatives of your fight in the events of D-Day? Not that I know of. My grandfather, who was around during World War II, did not fight because he was a skilled rifleman, and so he trained Marines how to use rifles on Paris Island. Only in the last few months of the war was he deployed. What did he use? A bow? Yeah, he used his fourth feet arrow volley. Then the Conqueror used a Punio Mortis, which is a grenade, and then he used his bow and arrow. So he's one of those players who needs feats to win. He needs feats to get the win. All right, let's see what happens now. You'll notice the Jurin quid. He wanted out of that one fast. Those feats are, I would use them only in desperate scenarios. But we were breaking. I don't know why he felt the need to use them on one guy when I was surrounded by all four. He could have saved them for the last guy, or if we turned it around. Oh well. Some people just need it. Some people need that feeling of satisfaction. I need to play as an assassin, so let's pick an assassin hero. Let's go Hatun. I haven't gone Hatun in a hot minute. Which hero has the best feats to be annoying? Jurin's feats can be very annoying. Virtuosa's feats can be annoying, especially her fourth feat. Kyoshin's feats, like I said, are incredibly irritating. Sohei's second feat is ungodly annoying. Raven, did Knights ever use grenades in history? Not the kind that you're probably thinking of. More than likely what they used were burning coals and stuff like that. They definitely had flaming catapults and trebuchet, but you wouldn't see like explosive armament. That wasn't very common. Like that wasn't a common tactic. All right, we got a Varangian, Aphira, Shaolin, and Berserk. Now, if you're thinking that any of those I'm bad against, all of them are. I'm bad against all of them. Let's see. All right, we're back in it. I hate this map, but we'll do our best. This is one of my most least favorite maps in the game. I can't stand it. Oh, and just so y'all know, next Wednesday when the Warriors Den is happening, I will be streaming it. I just may not have my face cam on because it's not working for some reason. I'll try to fix it, but I don't know if I can. Good kill. Get him, Yorm. Get him, Yorm. If you're outnumbered, cheat. All right. What are you hoping to start off the new season? I mean, we know we're going to get a new hero skin. We know that there's some bundles coming, and we know that they're doing a throwback game event. Don't know what it could be. I'm hoping that the hero skin is good. I'm hoping that it's not super expensive. Okay. That Shaolin always knows how to get help, I tell you what. There's rumors it's going to be returned to the DBD event. I mean, maybe, but I feel like that'd be a better idea for Halloween, right? It feels like something they could do in the third season, right? Because that's when Halloween is? I don't know. Okay. God. Man, we won the first two matches. Now I'm sucking wind in all my others. What's happening? All right, bye, Nina. All right, if we want to turn this around, we gotta separate. I'm gonna go to C. God. I wish my team was as dedicated. God. This team is winning because they keep helping each other. That's what's going on here. Every time I get one of them alone and I start to whittle them down, suddenly they get a teammate who comes to save them. And then they can back off and run away, just like that what Zerker did. With me, I'm always by myself. I don't have a teammate ever. These guys are working way closer together. They are a team. They seem to be communicating. That is the difference. It's kind of going back to what Raptor Rex said in his video. Just, it is so painful to play solo queue in this game because you are just up against everyone and their mother working together. And I would invite people, but my Wi-Fi and internet are so shoddy. Plus, I'm very antisocial. I'm going to C. Nothing I could do. I was ganked up on by 3 of them, and I cannot get that Shaolin to do a dodge attack, ever. He will not do it. You won 2 games, Raven. That means you are in the top. Stay there, though, the next 20 matches. What do you mean? I've won 2 games. I've lost 2 games. And this will probably be the 3rd loss if I'm any judge. Okay. Feat number 1. Got a little too greedy. Just a little too greedy. Need to heal up. Just lights. Lights. I can't parry lights. Ugh. All right, get me back in there. We can still win, guys. We're not out of this. All right, we've turned that around. That was shit. That was shit. I gave my absolute best, but as you can see, my best is shite. For Honor has matchmaking that usually coincides with skill or with your rep rate. My rep is unseemly high, so it likes to pair me with other people who are unseemly high. Well, I'm out of this group. I can't run with them. DBD to get some new content. Jason from Friday the 13th. Jason looks cool, but nothing else about the upcoming thing looks neat to me. Like, legit nothing about it. Let's go Nusha. Still gotta go Assassins. Why does Hitakiri have doll heads on their basic armor? More to be creepy than anything else. There was a trailer teasing for Pennywise from being added to DBD. I didn't see it. And honestly, I don't care. The It franchise doesn't impress me. Right. My third attack might catch that Virtuoso off guard. Try to block the lights just for safer play. I do, but I don't always know where the lights are coming from, and my reaction speed isn't great. Y'all got to realize that I am garbage at this game, and I do not have equipment to compensate for it. Like, for example, I was talking to a break and run at one point about how I could get better at light pairing, and he said, "What kind of monitor are you using?" And I said, "Monitor." He said, "Yeah. What screen?" I said, "I use an old TV screen." It's like, "Oh, well, yeah. Then that's not going to help you out much because it's hard for you to see the frame rates." And it's like, "Okay, well, what kind of PC do you use?" I'm like, "I play on PlayStation 5." Oh, like, I play on a PlayStation 5. I watch through a very old TV monitor. My setup for streaming is not high tech. Okay. Damn. I still play Helldivers every now and then, but yeah. Man, this isn't starting out good for us. Oh my god. We do not have any zones. I might switch to playing bots in a minute because this is just getting unfun. I'm gonna sneak right on by you. Crap. God. I keep getting outplayed. I'm still on last gen, so some attacks are faster than I can react to. Same. I would like Kayako from Ju-On, the Grudge, as a skin for Onryo. How would you make them look different? They're so similar in appearance. I turned B around, thankfully. One of ours just quit. Great. Oh, man. And it was the Gladiator, of course. Gladiators are among those players who expect to win all the time because of who they're playing. Okay. Thank you. The quit rate is crazy. Yeah, I want to do a stream sometime where I do a rage quit challenge. Anytime someone quits in a match, I have to do like 5 push-ups or sit-ups or something. I think I'd reach superhuman levels. Oh god, I forgot I'm dealing with a idiot. That's the biggest problem with bots. They will just feed revenge. They have no off switch. I'm learning Hitakiri. What's to learn? Heavy, heavy, heavy. Occasional guard break. Heavy, heavy, heavy. Yeah, it does suck. That's one of the reasons I mostly play against bots these days. I just get so sick of everyone quitting when things don't go their way. Like, if everyone's going to quit and leave us with bots, I might as well play bots in the first place. Pick him up. I'm not going to feed revenge. Let the bot do what damage they can. Now let's do this. Thanks for blocking that for me. You're a pal. God, there was nothing I could do. I was holding my own as long as I could. Where was my team? Why was my team not there to support? What is with this match? I am doing everything in my power to hold that spot against all 4 of them. And where's my team? I don't know. All 4 of them were on me. Why was no one coming to support? I can only do so much. I can only do so much. Again, I could only do so much! I'm switching to bots after this. Oh. Elysian Prince, you're as annoying as they are. let it be known, I carried this team as far as I could. They fumbled the effing ball. Lose already. Lose, Tiandi. You talk shit without playing the game. Go ahead and lose, please. Go ahead and lose, please. Thank you. Gah! What an embarrassment of a match. I was doing all the work. I was heavy lifting that team. I stood in zone A holding out against all 4 of them. Where is my team? Thumb up their butts, I can imagine. Just, god damn. What was I supposed to do? What do they expect? Good, they all... No, Lycian, I wouldn't play with you again if I wanted to. I wouldn't play with you again if I wanted to. God damn, you're one of the worst players I've ever seen. Talking shit without doing anything. God. There's only so much you can do when your team is made up of morons. There's only so much you can do when your teammates have no brain cells to rub together. All right. Let's go Shaman. Look, I can handle losing. Okay, here's the thing. I can handle losing. Y'all have seen me lose a few matches tonight, and I've handled it fine. That one, there is no reason we should have lost. We were doing good. We'd pushed them to breaking. We had the edge. And then in the final hurdle, the final stretch, they won't do it. I don't know what their deal is, but they will not commit. Got him. All right, now to turn B around. I'm coming to C. All right, that's how you turn a match around. See? See, look at that. Teammates coordinating, locking down the ones who get cocky. I'm coming to A right now to back up Warden. Hold on. Gah! Yes, emote spam, my brother. Emote spam, my brother. Emote spam, my brother. All right. Turning B around, going to C. Good read. Crap. He was waiting for that. He was waiting for that. All right, we're not out of this. We've got a good oh, who is this? Man, they're one of their Zhongjuns is kind of a toxic child, isn't he? You can admit it. I know toxicity when I see it. Not a lot I could do there. God bless this PK. She's trying her best. God bless that PK. She's doing the best she can. I need to turn B around right now. B is ours. All four are on C. There's that fourth feat. Let's go! Man, we've got them locked down in C pretty solid. I like it. They're having to send one person to go get B, and they've abandoned A because they don't want to face the Warden. I see it. I see it, man. Man, that's gotta suck for you. Wow! Don't you love it when they wow? Wow! Man, he do not like it. He is not happy. Boy is not happy. Boy is not happy. Oh. Ooh. Oh, I got 9 kills and only died 5 times. Let's go. Let's go. That's how we roll. That was a better match. It felt even better because we killed the dude who was being really toxic. And you know what? That makes it even better. That is the cherry on top of that sundae. That was gorgeous. That was gorgeous. All right. All right. Let's go ahead and switch to Breach because I got a Breach execution order. Let's go ahead and do that. And that way we can chill out a little bit. We can hang out and chat. Anyway. Excited for Season 2. I will be streaming it. Very hopeful for that. All right. I don't have any specific orders, I don't think. I've just got to get executions. I want Jurin to get to rep 20, so we will run Jurin. But yeah, so actually what's funny is we were talking earlier about Templar Knights. I'm doing some research on the Templars and the Hospitallers. I'm actually doing some background research on them for a paper I want to write. And what's funny is as I was doing more research on them, I actually began to think, you know, when I did my Warden Heroes in History video, I said that the Wardens were primarily based on numerous different knight factions. But now that I'm reading over their history again, maybe the Templars are a much better representation of what the Wardens were meant to be because of how strict it was to become, the requirements were to become a Templar. Like it was not simply, oh, you want to be a Templar? Walk right in. Let's get you all signed up. Come on, man. Here's your armor. Here's your story. No, it was not like that at all. It was very strict requirements. And remember, the whole point of the Warden is, like, not just anyone can become a Warden, you know what I mean? Like, the oaths of a Warden are not easily upheld, you know? So there is that. Let's see, what else? Oh, actually, here's something cool y'all may know. How many of you guys follow my Sword Tani streams whenever I play Skyrim and play Sword Tani? And you may have seen my video about her. I am actually going to be writing a Sword Tani story in the near future. Yeah, I'm going to be writing a Sword Tani story. It's going to be really cool. It's actually a request from Hannah as her birthday present because her birthday is the 15th of this month. Her birthday's the 15th, and I said, what would you like? I could get you something. And she said, actually, I just like a story. I said, well, what would you like? And she said that she'd like a story about Lionel Johnson and Cardathia. And I was like, another one? Okay, I mean, I can do that, but I thought you were going to ask for something else, like maybe Sword Tani or Sylvia, since you like those characters. And she said, no, I changed my mind. I want a Sword Tani story. And I don't mind doing that at all. Now, I don't mind writing Lion and Cardathia, because if you know, you know. No, you don't. If Hannah's still here, she can confirm. All right. Let's get the second execution. I think I need 5 executions in Breach. So this is number 2. Raven in the lobby. Griffin picks up his weapon and walks off the screen. I need to know what this means. Yeah, I've been wondering that too. I think what it means is Griffin is done with the celebrations or competitions. It's time for him to actually get to work. I think that's what that means. I think he's actually ready to get down to business. I think that's what that means, but I could be very much wrong. Are these bot 1s? I think these are bot 1s. No! Kyoshin, why? I needed that execution, bruh. I needed the execution, bruh. Could a squire become a Templar if a Templar died? He would still have to take the oath, and he would still have to be approved by the Grand Master. And you also got to remember that the Templars were not a typical knight, but they were a monastic order. So you had to be a member of the order before you could be considered. You had to be a member of the Templar order. So if you were a squire to a Templar knight, you were already in the order. It was expected you would become one. The Scorching Herald and Sun Wukong are neck and neck for the best. Oh, yeah, no doubt. I think that they are both really up there. Yeah, I haven't seen a bot 1 in ages. So this is kind of new for me. But I still need 3 more executions. I'm sure I can get them, but it's just getting to them. Here we go. This'll do. There we go. Execution number 3. Two more to go. All right, 4 down, 1 more to go. What were the requirements for joining the Templar Order? First of all, you had to take a vow of poverty, chastity, and piety. Obviously, you had to be Christian, because these were the Templar Knights of God. They were the Knights of the Temple. That's where the word Templar comes from. The Knights of the Temple. You had to be, in the earlier days, this wasn't the case later on, but in the earlier days, you had to be a veteran. You had to be a fighter with some experience. You had to be in your prime of fighting, which meant that you could fight for more years to come, so probably in your teens, 20s, or 30s. Not being a little kid, and you couldn't be an old fossil who can't lift a sword anymore. You had to take oaths. You could not bring your possessions with you. You had to use what was given to you by the temple. Got him. That's it. All the execution's done. Question, when the squire became a Templar, would he keep his name or would he bear his sponsor's name? He would keep his name. Templars didn't give up their names most of the time. Okay, that was weird. Got him. Bro, Raven, we just made a literal last fucking stand and won. We were locked on team breaking. Oh, that's good. Yeah, sometimes you can really pull it back. We have done that before. Did any Templar orders aid the Spanish Inquisition or the Inquisition in history? The Inquisition's job and the Templars' job were two different things. The Inquisition's job was to weed out criminal elements who were committing heresies. The purpose of the Inquisition was to basically keep the populace safe and interpret God's law. See, I should probably explain what an Inquisition was versus what a monastic order was, because they are very different things. So, first of all, a monastic order were holy monks who fought in the name of God. Their goal was to protect Christendom and Christian people from oppression from the Muslims and the pagans and the enemies of Christ. That was their job. The Inquisition were not monks, they were priests. They were usually parish priests who were trained to understand the law of God. You see, here's the thing. At this point in time, most people were illiterate. They couldn't read. Only those trained in Rome in the Catholic Church could read Latin, and so they were the only ones who could read the Bible. So here's what happened. So let me explain what happened. Let's say that you have a person in your kingdom who has been accused of heresy, like they've been accused of practicing paganism, right? Or child sacrifice, something like that. You know what I'm saying? Okay, you accuse them of heresy, but you don't know what but the king doesn't know what the Bible says about this crime. He doesn't know how to recognize heresy, right? So how do you charge a man? How do you try a man who's committed a heresy, but you don't know what a heresy looks like? You know what I'm saying? So that's what the Inquisition did. The Inquisition's job was to basically say, okay, I'm here. What's the charge? He's committed a heresy. What did he do? And then they lay out the charge, and then the inquisitors are supposed to go, okay, yes, this is a heresy, or they go, no, that is not a heresy. That was their job. Now, the inquisitor's job was also to try to save the accused. That was their job. Many people think that inquisitors were just torture-hungry maniacs who just liked committing torture. That's not the case. The case of the Inquisition was this. They wanted to save the lost. So let's say, let's create an hypothetical. You're in Britain. Let's say France, right? Okay, we're in France. This guy, his neighbor, has committed a grievous heresy, right? He's committed a heresy. Okay. Oh, wait, first let me pick my hero. Does it matter who I play? No, it really doesn't. Let's random it. Zhang Jun. Let's go. Okay, so so he's been charged of a terrible heresy, right? So you bring him before the king, and the king says, "What have you done?" He's committed a heresy, sir. We need the Inquisition. So the inquisitor will show up and say, "All right, tell me what you did." And then he'll say, "Well, I did this." And the inquisitor would say, "That's not a heresy. You're good to go." But let's say that it was. Let's say that it was a heresy. He goes, "Okay, yes, that is a heresy. That is wrong. Do you regret what you did? Or do you realize it's a heresy?" And then they say, "No, I didn't know that was a heresy. I am so sorry." Well, good. That's fine. That's fine. As long as you swear to never do it again, here's your punishment. You have to do 5 Hail Marys. You have to pray this many times. You have to do all this, and then you're good to go. Other times they may say, "I regret what I did. I knew it was a heresy. I did it in the heat of the moment." And then they'll go, "Okay, well, will you never do it again?" "Yeah, I swear to never do it again. I swear that I will live righteously and godly." "Okay, then here's your punishment. We're going to get you on your way, okay?" But let's say that they said, "No, I don't regret what I did. I don't regret at all what I did." Then the inquisitor's going to say, "Okay, well then I'm turning you over to the king for punishment. May God have mercy on your soul." Because it was not the inquisitor's job to dish out the punishment. It was the king's, because you've broken the king's laws. Most of the time, inquisitors did not do a lot of crazy tortures. They did investigate, like they may go to a house and ask questions. They may talk to neighbors and witnesses. They may talk to other priests or bishops or friars or monks in the land and say, "Hey, this is what this person's accused of. What do you know about it?" They would get to the bottom of things, and then once they were sure of the situation, they'd say, "All right, here's what I found. This person is guilty of this heresy, and I'm going to talk to him and see if we can't save his soul. If he can save his soul, he's going to save his soul. If he can't save his soul, well, may God have mercy on you, king. You have the floor. You may do what you want." The reason people think inquisitors were evil and heinous and barbaric was because of 2 reasons. One was the Spanish Inquisition was a little controversial, not for what they did, actually, not for what they did, but because of how they were made. The Spanish Inquisition was a blackmail organization. In other words, they were created by blackmail. Hold on. Let me get these guys down. Name it. Okay, I need to go heal. I need to go heal. But as I was saying, the Spanish Inquisition was created through blackmail. That's the first thing to keep in mind. And then the second thing to keep in mind, and this is the big one, Britain lied about a lot of what the Spanish Inquisition did. You see, the Spanish Inquisition was founded by Catholics. Britain at the time was at war with Spain because they were Protestant, and there were wars going on between the Catholics and Protestants at the time. To make the Catholics sound worse, they sold stories about how the Spanish Inquisition was super evil and did all these evil, demonic, awful things. They tortured, they killed millions of thousands of Muslims and Jews and Protestants. When in reality, most of it was fabricated. Most of it never happened. While it is true the Spanish Inquisition did do some things questionable, because again, their creation was a scandal in and of itself. Crap. It was not necessarily that they did evil things all the time. That was more propaganda created by the British. Now, here's the thing. The reason the Spanish Inquisition was made is kind of tragic. It's because of actually, I've been rambling on a bit. I may need to stop. I may need to stop now because I'm sure I'm looking at chat and most people aren't all that interested. We want updates to Breach. I'd like a new Breach map, personally. Hey, Cynthia. Please keep going. Are you sure? Because when I get started rambling, sometimes I go on, and I've been told that my rambling is annoying. Ah, dang. Well, if y'all want to know, okay. So here's how the Spanish Inquisition came to be. The Catholic Church was building up a lot of inquisitions because in the Catholic lands, the medieval world, there were a lot of situations popping up of people being declared of witchcraft and paganism and all this other stuff. And they wanted to make sure that people weren't being tried and killed unjustly. You know how everyone freaks out over the Salem witch trials and the witch trials of Britain? In fact, they're making a whole Assassin's Creed game about the evilness of the witch trials. Here's the thing. The Catholic Church didn't want people freaking out over witches. They're like, look, most witchcraft cases are fabricated, and to make sure that we don't get people accused wrongly, we're creating an inquisition to look into whether the cases are real or not. So believe it or not, the Inquisition was largely created to prevent the craziness of witch trials. Not even kidding. But now you're probably wondering, okay, where does the Spanish Inquisition come in? Well, Spain did not really have an Inquisition yet because Spain had just recently been freed from Muslim rule in what was called the Reconquista. You see, the Muslims had fought their way across northern Africa, crossed into the European peninsula, and basically took over Spain. The Reconquista was the Catholic war effort to take back Spain. And the King of Spain, King Philip, was very happy to have Spain back under Christian rule, but here was the problem. See, the Muslims were not keen to leave. Even though he made a law saying, hey, you can no longer be Muslim in Spain because of what you've done. You either need to convert to Christianity or you need to leave. He did not say, we'll kill you. He said, you either need to convert or leave. We're not going to have you here. So several Muslims, many Muslims, in fact, basically pretended to convert or they faked their beliefs in what's called taqiyya. Taqiyya is this practice written out in the Quran that basically allows Muslims to lie to protect themselves and pretend they're not Muslim and pretend to be friendly with the infidel if they fear that they could be harmed. That was a law that they were practicing, and that was what they were using at the time to hide themselves in Spain. But what happened was, whenever they got a chance to lash out, whenever they got a chance to fight back or cause damage, they would take it, and they would basically harass and attack Christians and cause damage and destruction. So we have a lot of Muslims hiding in Spain who should not be there, and this is pissing off the King of Spain. So he basically appeals to the Pope and says, hey, Pope, give me an inquisition too. I need a holy bull so that I can start an inquisition. Because what you needed to start an inquisition was a papal bull. That's what you needed, which was basically the Pope's seal. And the Pope says, nah, dude, I don't have time to give you any of that right now. Besides, I'm worried that you'll abuse that power. I'm not going to do that. And so the King of Spain says, all right, fine, okay. Oh, by the way, I know about your little fight against the Ottoman Empire that you got going on, and I know that you're using my men as part of the fighting force. What if I just pull those back right now? What if I stop sending you soldiers to help fight the Ottoman Empire? And the Pope said, whoa, no. Okay, never mind, bro, never mind. Okay. Tell you what, we'll give you a papal bull, but you've got to report to me everything you do, okay? Because we can't risk you causing trouble, right? So he gives them a papal bull, and they start the Spanish Inquisition. Does King Philip honor this? No, he really doesn't. He doesn't write much to the Pope to let them know what's going on, and he has full control over the Spanish Inquisition. So basically, the Spanish Inquisition was allowed to go around and do what they needed to do to find the Muslims hiding in Spain, and do what they needed to do to round them up and get them out. Now, the stories of mass torture and death and all that, largely fabricated, largely not true, largely made up. Because remember, these are still Christians, and most of them practiced godliness. They practiced compassion and love. They would not have gone to draconian torture methods. There was torture. I'm not pretending there wasn't. There was sometimes torture, but it was not draconian and evil and hostile. Was there killing? Yes, sometimes they had to kill some of these people, but it was not this draconian practice that was so awful. If you want to talk about the Inquisition that was really brutal, that was the Roman Inquisition, because the Inquisitors of Rome were super protective of the Roman lands, because that was the Catholic city. That was the seat of the Catholic Church. You cannot have pagans in Rome, so they were especially brutal to those in Rome who did wrong. We already did Warden. Switch up Magi. Okay, we can do Magi. But anyway. So when Games Workshop made their Inquisition in 40K, they took inspiration from all historical Inquisitions. When they made the Inquisition in 40K, they took the inspiration largely from the British version of the Spanish Inquisition. Because the Inquisition in 40K is basically incredibly powerful, has no real restraint, can do what they want, and terrify everyone. That's the way the British describe the Spanish Inquisition. But that is the story of the Spanish Inquisition and why they get the reputation they do. In reality, the Inquisitions themselves were not nearly as barbaric and brutal as people make them out to be. That's largely British propaganda. Although I will admit, the reason the Spanish Inquisition exists is a little bit controversial. I will admit that much. Whoa. Plague be upon thee. Who could have told that I summon a plague of Egypt? How about that? Well, the Brits had their reasons for being mad at the Catholic Church. The British were very much discriminated against by the Catholic Church because they were Protestant. So don't get me wrong, while the British definitely didn't help the Spanish Inquisition, they had their reasons for not being pleased with the Catholic Church. The Catholic Church at the time was definitely not doing well. The Catholic Church was essentially dividing up the world. But the Inquisition had very little foundation in the monastic orders. Because the monastic orders were soldiers. They were going to go fight the enemy of Christendom. The Inquisition was largely there to be the law and order of the Christian world. I'm going to hold this spot. How many crusades did they win? They won the first. Second they lost. Third, they didn't win, but they might as well have. Honestly, they got what they wanted out of it. Essentially, fourth was a clusterfuck. Fifth they failed. Sixth they won. Seventh ended early. And eighth never got started. Although to be fair, let me put it this way: it depends on how you're looking at. It depends on how you look at the Crusades. If you're looking at the Crusades in terms of they just wanted to retake the Holy Land, well, no, they didn't. They didn't permanently retake the Holy Land because they took it after the First Crusade. And then only took it back again in the Sixth Crusade. And then lost it again in the Seventh Crusade. Tried to take it again, but that's getting off. That's getting off topic. Point is, if you look at it in terms of it was just about them taking the Holy Land, then yeah, you could make the argument that it failed. But I don't think it's just about that. It was about other things too. For one thing, the Crusades were about preventing the Islamic expansion from going into Europe, which it definitely did. The Crusades stopped Islam from reaching the European borders and saved Christendom itself. It also gave Christendom something to fight for. It reminded Christendom that they not only could fight for who they were and for their God and their people, but encouraged them to do so. Was the sixth one in Northern Europe? No, those are the Baltic Crusades. You're thinking of the Baltic Crusades. I was talking about largely the Crusades that took place in I'm talking about the ones that took place in the Holy Land. The Baltic Crusades were a different series of crusades altogether. Those crusades were fought largely because the pagans in those lands were becoming way too hostile. They pretty much won 1 and 6. Yes, the Third Crusade was a close victory, but Richard was forced to go back to his territory. Correct. Again, I'm not well versed in history that far back, and is there any Inquisition still active? They're all shut down now. There are no active Inquisitions. Because you got to realize one of the reasons the Inquisitions were made was because people couldn't read the Bible in the Catholic Church. Everyone was illiterate. They couldn't read. So they needed priests who could read the Bible to interpret it. Really, the Crusades exposed the ultimate problem Christendom has, and that is ambitious morons who will hijack entire movements. Wait, what? How did the Crusades do that? Ironic that hundreds of thousands fought to prevent Islam from entering Europe, only to now allow it to enter freely under the idea of refugees. Unfortunately. Believe me when I say that I do not hate someone because they are Muslim, but I do often detest what happens when we allow tolerance to just become complacency and evil. Not to say that Christians don't do evil too. There are plenty of Christians who do. I'm not going to get in. I'm not going to open that can of worms here. I'm not going to open that can of worms here. Got him. There was also the Avignon Crusade, which I argue did its job dealing with the card. Yes, yes. The Albigensian Crusade did deal with the Cathars very effectively. And if you want to know who the Cathars are, think of like legit heretics. Like when you think 40K and you think like heretical doctrine from traders in 40K, the Cathars get kind of close to that. Like the Second Crusade, we all know who I'm talking about, a certain French king. Yes. Yes, I agree with that. But the thing that the Crusades really showed is Christendom's ability to fight. Raven, how can a modern Crusader Inquisition be implemented today? Would there be more liars or cowards? I think if we were to have a modern crusade today, it would have to be something that really united the Christian world. Right now, the Christian world is so divided, which is sad, you know? I'm so sick of this anti-Protestant, anti-Catholic, anti-Orthodox standard of living, which has just become so tiresome. You know what I mean? But we need to unite as Christians. We need to fight for a common cause again, rather than just fighting for what we think we want. And I don't think we'll ever need an Inquisition again. Raven, who do you think would win the Galactic Republic and Jedi, or the Imperial Guard and the Ultramarines from Warhammer? The Imperial Guard and Ultramarines, largely because of plot armor. Oh crap! I got dive bombed. I have a friend that I told I am studying my Bible more, and he whispered to me, "Nobody cares about your stupid magical book." I didn't know how to respond to him. Ignore him. That's the best thing you can do. He is a hater who hates the magical. Who hates the ideals of Christ. He equates it all to magic. He's just a hater. Don't give him the time of day. It might be a can of worms when controversy is used as a tool to silence conversation on the topic when you allow them to win, assuming you said that because it's controversial. I choose not to talk about it simply because I don't want to spark arguments. And I like to keep my streams chill. If someone wants to talk to me about it, we can have the conversation. But I don't want people to get into arguments and start throwing slander around at me when I'm just trying to chill out and have fun. If I want to have that conversation, I'm not afraid to have the conversation. But right now, I'm not interested in that. I just want to have fun. When Christendom locks in, it really locks in. Also, I absolutely agree we don't really have anything that can really unify the divided churches. Christ could unify us. The problem is so many people choose not to look to him. Literally, I was doing my Bible study tonight with Lark, and we were reading in Mark, the book of Mark. There's a verse. I'll need to pull it up again if I could. My Bible's at the other end of the room. Like I will need to pick it up and pull it open, but it was really good. Basically, the disciples came to Jesus and they said, "Master, we saw a man who was driving out demons in your name, and we told him to stop because he wasn't one of us. He wasn't one of the disciples. He wasn't in our group." And Jesus said, "Do not stop him, because anyone who is not against us is with us." You know, anyone who is not against us is with us, and anyone who does something in my name, whether he's in our group or not, will not speak ill of us. You know, if even a person gives you a glass of water just because you serve the Messiah, then they will be rewarded. In other words, it doesn't matter what group you claim to belong to. It's all about your faith in God. We're united by Christ in our belief in him. It shouldn't matter what church we attend. It shouldn't matter what denomination we're in. What should matter is our belief in God, because Jesus himself said, it doesn't matter whether you're part of my in crowd or not. If you are with me, then you are my ally, and I love you, and you will be rewarded. All right, did it. Nice. How would you unite Christianity? Honestly, I would. There's no way I could do it. Christ would have to do it. Christ will have to reunite the church. We need to come together as followers of Christ, not as Catholics, Baptists, Lutherans, Orthodox, Presbyterians, what have you. We are united by Christ. The problem is we like to set up boundaries and barriers and differentiation. It gets us nowhere. How about without plot armor? I would still say the Ultramarines and the Imperial Guard, because they fought horrors that the Galactic Republic knows not. When they introduced Black Power, I love that event. I wouldn't mind those comments either. Yeah. It is sad, but we will have to answer to God for that when the time comes. Yeah. Agreed. We have Christ, and we have that Holy Spirit who Christ gave to help us, yet nobody really tries to get Christ or the Spirit involved as the head of our movement. Without Christ, we can't win. Jesus is the way, the truth, and life. Anyone who is with Christ is our ally, and Christ has given us many ways to identify those who are his allies. Paul himself explicitly warned about sex. Yes, he did. And Titus warned us not to create problems where there are none, you know? I don't want to play Hitakiri. Glad. I don't want to play Glad either. Let's go. You know, let's go Black Prior. Let's go my heavenly Black Prior. Sorry. We'll probably wrap up after this. But all in all, good talk. I mean, we've been having a good talk tonight. If y'all want to know anything more about that, let me know. I love talking about this stuff. Also, we'll be wrapping up the Sermon on the Mount series tomorrow. We will be wrapping that up and ending that Bible study series tomorrow, and we'll have to start a new Bible study series. Thinking about going into the life of Elisha, because we talked about Elijah. We did a Bible study series on him, but we haven't talked about Elisha, which I think would be really interesting, because Elisha was his successor. And Elisha did some incredible things too. That is some weird ass sound effect. Anyway. Oh, crap. 40K question. Would any of the Primarch's loyal or traitors support the High Lords of Terra plot to assassinate Gilliman? No. I mean, think about what you just asked, bro. Literally think about what you just asked. That's such an easy question. Would a loyalist Primarch want their brother to be killed? No. Would a traitor Primarch want their brother to be killed? Yes. I mean this in the nicest way, Hunter. Some of your questions I do feel like are pretty obvious. That one's one of them. I think that it's an obvious answer to that question. Would a traitor Primarch want his loyalist brother Gilliman to be killed? Yes. Yes, they would. And they'd think it's funnier that the Inquisition tried to do it. Maybe the like-minded people from every church could unite, all sharing that Christ is what they all follow and their people must be protected at all costs. Well, we'd also need a common goal. Raven, off topic, but what's the background music you use called for the For Honor Chill videos? That is one of the soundtracks from Stellar Blade, Siren Song. I'm a Southern Baptist, and I'm reading all the John verses, and when I was born, my middle name was Isaiah. Cool. Well, I mean, think about it. The traitor Primarchs want their loyalist brothers dead, while the loyalist Primarchs want their brothers united. It just makes sense. That was annoying. Wow, Griffin. Wow. How far did you get in Pragmata? I've almost beaten it. Why does everyone want to interrupt my bulwark counter? What united churches originally? Originally, what united church, the church in the original church was the belief in Christ, the shared belief in Christ, and their willingness to stand up to oppression. Because the church was born into oppression. When the church was first formed after Christ's ascension, the church was heavily persecuted by the Jews and by the Romans. Christianity has always flourished under oppression. There we go. There has to be something that you can unite us today. There is, but it's going to be about wanting to be united because there are many who don't want to be. There are a lot of Protestants, Orthodox, and Catholics who think that we are all enemies and don't want to unite. I've heard Catholics say Protestants are worse than Muslims and pagans. I've heard Orthodox say that Catholics are the devil's work. I've heard it all. You know. Hey, everyone, just stop by real quick to say hi and check in with you. Hey, Zachary. Glad you stopped in. This is probably going to be our last match of the night. But had a good time all the same. We had one really frustrating match, though, I'll tell you what. That had me pretty mad. Damn. I've heard Christians say any Christian who tries to be friendly with Jews is an enemy of the Christ. Yeah, that's false. St. Andrew wanted one of the crucifix turned sideways because he felt he didn't deserve to be crucified like Christ. Yeah, I've heard that. All right. Held my ground there. Here, got some health back. I needed it. Back up a bit. Man, I've been holding out. I need to go heal now. I need to back off and go heal for a bit. Y'all gotta admit, though, I was holding that ground. My problem as a human is I'm open-minded, not really locked in on religion, as my younger brother is Celtic pagan. My best friend who's serving in the army is Norse pagan. All right. I mean, I'm not going to force you to believe what I believe. That's not my goal or intention. But I do. Hold on. There we go. There we go. But I do talk about this stuff because I'm a Christian. And there are lots of people in my chat who either are Christian and want to talk about the faith because they have questions, or there are people who are not Christian but want to know more about it and ask questions. I've had several streams where people have come and just want to ask questions. Like they say, hey, I'm not a believer, but this is something I've always wondered about Christianity. Can you answer? And I try my best to answer. Sometimes they're satisfied, sometimes they're not. But as a Christian, it is my duty, my calling, my mandate from Jesus himself to spread the gospel, to tell others of his love, to spread the good news. That is what I am called to do by the Great Commission. Yeah, finally killed me. It's always so few and far in between since I see your streams now that I can see a tangible skill increase. I think that I've gotten better than I used to be, but I still don't think I'm good. Well, anytime y'all want to ask questions or just talk about the Bible or about the faith, I don't mind having conversations. I'm not a priest or a bishop or a pastor, but I can definitely try to answer questions. With the eerie music in the background, it all feels so creepy. There we go. Raven, what does this Bible say about infidelity? Like, you mean cheating? Oh, it says it's awful. There are definite sin. It's considered a sin. The Jews actually used to punish adultery by death, like you had to be stoned. Now, Jesus, of course, didn't support that. Like, he spared the adulterous woman, but betraying your loved one, like cheating on your loved one, that was wrong. That was sinful and lustful. Jesus even said in the Sermon on the Mount, he was saying, you've heard it said, do not commit adultery. But I tell you, if you even look at another woman, not your wife, with lust, you've already committed adultery in your heart. If you are in a relationship with someone and you are looking at other people lustfully and with desire that is wrong, Like you may as well have already committed adultery because your heart has already yearned for others. Like it's definitely a problem. Infidelity is considered sinful. Raven, what's it mean to be truly a God-fearing Christian? It means that you trust the Lord in everything you do and that you recognize his authority over you. It means that you put the teachings of Jesus into practice in your life. It means that you accept Christ as your Lord and Savior. It means that you love your fellow man as God loved you. It means that you repent of your sins. It means that you trust in the Lord to guard and protect you and bring you home when it is your time. So what was the conclusion of For Honor Year 10 so far? I said that I'm enjoying the season so far. I wasn't as high on the Assassin's Creed stuff, but that's just personal for me. I think that the skins and the executions going with them was a unique idea, even if I'm not particularly fond of them. I loved the Griffin Hero skin. I like the direction the lore is going. I'm very interested to see how the Scorching Herald is going to take the fight to the Hatuns and in this piece. I'm curious about that. So overall, I'd say it's winning. I just need to see where it's going. Will you or Lark stream to Star Wars Zero Company? I don't know. We'll have to see. Raymond, can you say that there be something to fully unite us? There is something to unite us. There is something to unite us as Christians. It exists. It's Jesus. He can unite us. He is the great uniter. But what's dividing us is human stupidity, human greed and selfishness and egotism. And I'm afraid that's not going away anytime soon. You agree, Mal? Yeah, I appreciate that. It's where I stand on the matter. All right, wrapping up some of this. Oh, new color. Neat. All right. Remember, all the human pride and sin is always going to be the roadblock for Christianity progress, especially sin and pride from inside. Consider this. Remember what Jesus said as well. Jesus also said that there would be many who call themselves Christians who are not actually Christian. And because of that, the church, the Christian church, will always stand somewhat divided. There are going to be those who profess themselves as Christians but don't actually believe. And they are going to try to cause division and distrust and disunity. If you worship your church, your denomination, and your traditions more than you do Christ, then there's a problem. But there are many who do. They think that their traditions and their personal values are their saving grace, and that is wrong. Just getting rid of excess stuff that I don't need. All right, last one, Valkyrie. Wow. All right, I've caught all up. All right. Hey, Raven, my great aunt refused to get a blood transfusion because of her religious beliefs. Can you give possible insights as to why? What does your aunt believe? I can't think of anything biblical that says you can't have a blood transfusion. How do you feel about, in myth, the angel Lucifer convinced his side to become leaders of the seven deadly sins? I don't believe that. She was a Christian? Well, I would need to know what aspect of the Bible she was looking to. Because I don't know what aspect of the Bible would say that you can't have a blood transfusion. All right, well, that's probably going to be where we call it. Thank you guys for watching. I did have fun tonight. I know that I'm falling off in many ways as a YouTuber and a content creator and a streamer. I know that. I've seen the numbers. I know. I was actually looking at my analytics the other day, and it's very clear. I told you guys early on that I wanted to reach 50,000 subs by the end of the year, and the analytics show that's definitely not happening. Not unless we get a large turnout of new subscribers. So I'm going to keep this channel going as long as I possibly can, but I don't know what the future holds. Anyway, thank you all so much. I will see you guys in my next video. Take care.